Hi, my name is Wendy Brown, and I'm a professional organizer and owner of Seeking Sanity. And welcome to today's reality check. In this video, we're going to be tackling box buildup because container clutter is a thing. We're going to be challenging all the reasons why people think they need to keep empty boxes. It's really common when I go into clients' homes that we come across a lot of empty boxes, and the reasons for holding onto those boxes vary. But the most common ones are resell. They have heard that if they want to resell the item, that it's worth more or it's more attractive to the buyer if they have the original packaging. Another reason they like to keep the box is to store it. Interestingly enough, it's usually not in the box when we come across it, but the intent is to put it back into its box and store it there. The third reason is for moving. Some people don't have any intention of storing the item in the box, but they want to hang on to the box just in case they move because they feel like the item will be transported safer in its original packaging in the event of a move. And then lastly, we have people that just love a good box. And they look at that box and think it's really sturdy, it's a really great size, I'm sure I can use it for something. But the reality is, oftentimes too much of a good thing turns into a bad thing. And we just don't need to save all those boxes. So what I'd like to do next is take a deeper dive into some of these reasons why we save our empty boxes and really get clear on if we need to keep those boxes or not. So let's start with resale. If you're one of those people that goes out and gets the latest iPhone every time it hits, the store shelves, then you're going to have your old phone that you're going to want to turn around and sell. And in cases like that, it absolutely makes sense to save the packaging so that you can resell it. But if that's not the way you typically operate and you're not really sure about the resale, but you just think, oh, just in case, let's do a little bit deeper dive and let's say, okay, just in case, but what is the reality that you really will turn around and try to sell this item? And how far into the future will that be? Because both of those things are going to have a bearing on whether or not you actually need to keep the original packaging to go with that, right? So be really clear and really honest with yourself about resale. And intentions are one thing, but knowing if you're going to follow through with those intentions is another thing. And so be really mindful of that and be really honest with yourself when thinking that through for the resale. Storage was our next one, I believe. And if the item's somewhere else and you've got the empty box and the intent is to store it in the box, then it needs to get in the box. So my first question there is, why isn't it already in the box? What's keeping that from happening? My other question is, how often do you use this item? If it's a special occasion item or a once in a while thing or a holiday item, well, sure, it's going to make sense to put it in the box and store it that way if you'd like to. But if it's something that you're using more frequently or that you and family members are using quite a bit, chances are it's going to make it in and out of the box a few times, but ultimately there'll come a time when it's going to come out of the box and it's just not going to go back in. Either the box is going to get really worn and damaged, or people are just going to get tired of the hassle of pulling it out and putting it back in the box. And so be really honest with yourself in that situation as well and say, what is the likelihood, knowing myself, knowing my family members, that we're going to be putting this item in and out of the box to use it if it's not a special occasion item. The third reason for keeping the boxes was the move. And the first question I have to ask there is, when are you planning to move? Is this something that might be on the horizon in the next 1 or 2 years, or is it just a maybe what if, and I think that if I keep the box, it's going to transfer better? Because the reality is, when we're packing up our things to move, there's a lot of things that we do to keep them safe, right? We've got paper and bubble wrap. And if you've got movers or packers that you hire to come in and do the job, they have techniques and all of the supplies to keep our things safe. So what are the chances that that item is actually going to get put into that box before it gets packed into another box to go with the movers? So kind of think about that process a little bit. And, TVs are the big one that I hear on that. Oh, I want to keep the box because if we move, I want to put the TV back in the box with all the foam packaging and everything to keep it really safe. But here's a perspective that you may not have thought of. If you're keeping a big box like that, for the off chance that you might move, you're actually having to make room or space in your home for the item twice because you've got the TV on the wall or in the room, wherever it's being used. Now you've got this big box that's even a little bit bigger than your TV that's got to find a home, and it's got to find a home where it's not going to get dinged up and kicked around and torn so that it's ready to protect that TV in the event of a move. So if the likelihood of a move isn't right there on the horizon, you might want to rethink keeping big boxes like that too for TVs, because those can really add up to some serious container clutter. And then the last reason is because it's just a great box. And this is true. A lot of the boxes things come packed in are nice, sturdy boxes. They're good boxes. And like I said before, too much of a good thing can actually be a bad thing. So ask yourself, what might I store in this box? Where might I need to use it? And what's kind of my ideal number of really great boxes? Because you don't want to get to the point where all these really great boxes are taking up space for things that you could actually be using, or creating clutter and stress and disharmony in your home. Now this really great box isn't so great, right? Because it's having a negative impact on you and the way you're living. So be really mindful about that as well. So I hope these suggestions have given you some food for thought. And I'd like to challenge you, if you're a box collector, to go back to your boxes and rethink your reasonings and get really clear with yourself on your intentions and your need to save these boxes, and see how many of these boxes you actually need moving forward and how many you can send to recycling. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of Reality Check, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.